Do you want to do the vault on easy mode, leveling up all of the stones for your construct while you're just sitting back reaping the rewards and your minions are doing all of the work for you? Well, I have the build for you. Your minions are literally going to tank all of the damage, do most of the damage, and you can just sit back and enjoy, avoid all the traps, and just reap all the rewards at the end of the dungeon. So how do we do this? Well, first and foremost, we're going to make it so our minions take less damage by having hardened bones. It's going to increase their damage reduction by 20%. Coldbringer is going to make it so your mages are going to cast a blizzard every 8 seconds, which is going to put down a nice little chill field that is going to make it so that the mobs have a much harder time getting to you, vastly increasing your survivability. Speaking of survivability, we're also going to have disobedience, which is going to greatly increase our armor by up to 66%. Your minions also get more armor and are a bit more tanky as well. Increase your maximum skeletal mages by 2. I have unfortunately not had the max skeletal warriors increased by 2 drop yet, otherwise I would have that on my chest, but you know, RNG is what it is. But if you do have that one, make sure you have that as well. You want to have as many minions on the field doing as much damage and soaking as much damage as possible. Reanimation is going to increase your minions damage by 40% multiplicative after they've been alive for 10 seconds. Again, we're trying to make them as tanky as possible so they don't die. So they're just going to have a whole bunch of uptime on huge amounts of damage. Next up, we're going to have Frenzied Dead, which is going to increase your minions' attack speed, allowing them to put out even more damage because they're attacking faster, doing the more multiplicative damage from reanimation. And I put Splintering on my amulet because I do have Bone Spear in the build. It's going to make Bone Spear just a little bit stronger, and it's also going to help to apply Vulnerable, which is also going to increase your minions damage because we're not using Corpse Tendrils. Now, the two aspects I'm missing, like I said before, was the one to increase your Skeletal Warriors by 2, and the other one I would like is Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead would be amazing because it's going to make so your minions take 90% less damage while Army of the Dead is active. Whenever you see like a elite pack, you just pop Army of the Dead, boom, they do a bunch of damage, take up basically 0 damage, and you can just live through everything while you sit back and let your minions do what they're doing. All right, into the Book of the Dead. So for your skirmishers, you can either take number 1 or number 2. It's up to you, completely up to you. I chose number 1 because more skirmishers is just more damage output. However, if you do choose the second one, make it so every time you critically strike, your warrior's next attack is going to critically strike and do 50% multiplicative bonus damage. It's up to you, completely up to you what you want to do. I choose the additional warrior, but again, it's whatever you choose. For the mages, we're going to go cold number 1 because it's going to give you 2 essence per mage hitting. So it's going to give you a bunch of free essence. We have 5 mages. Right now, that's giving me 10 essence basically every time they cast. And for the golem, we're going to go blood number 2 because it's going to increase his damage reduction by 25% and it's going to increase his damage output by 50%. We also take the 3 golem points on the skill tree, which is going to increase it by another 75%. So the golem does a lot of damage, doesn't take a lot of damage, and is just an absolute beast on the field. For the construct, obviously this is not how you need to build yours, it's just how I have mine. I went Lightning Bolt because Lightning Bolt is extremely good. It shoots out a projectile and it arcs over to more targets. I put multi-shot onto it so it can shoot multiple projectiles. As you upgrade this, I think it can get all the way up to 10 extra projectiles. Right now it's just 1 additional projectile, so as we upgrade multi-shot, it's going to get better and better. Also, doing the vaults is the most efficient way to upgrade all of these stones, so keep that in mind. Arcing support so it can hit multiple enemies, and breaking support so that it destroys barrier and also applies vulnerable. Impale over here because it's just nice, good, fast damage. It's a 1-second cast. It is insane damage. Whenever I do get Evernight, I'm probably going to put it linked to Impale because Impale is such a really fast cast and it's melee. Volume is support because it increases the size of it so it hits more mobs. Swift support makes it so it goes off faster, and efficiency support gives you 6% increased critical strike chance. Efficiency support should be in any build that uses crit at all because it's just free critical strike chance for you. All right, on to the skill tree. So the skill tree is pretty simple. So we're going to go Hemorrhage into Acolyte's Hemorrhage. And Acolyte's Hemorrhage is going to increase its attack speed by 20% while you're healthy, which you're going to constantly be healthy since you're staying back out of the fight anyways. Now you might be thinking, why Hemorrhage over Bone Splinters since you're using Bone Spear? Well, Hemorrhage attacks faster, spawns Blood Orbs, and Blood Orbs heal your minions as well as you. So realistically, it's just more efficient to use Hemorrhage for almost every build out there, unless you need an instant spawn corpse, which is when you would go Reap. So we're going to put 3 points into Unliving Energy, 3 points into Imperfectly Balanced, max up Bone Spear all the way down to Paranormal Bone Spear since we're already getting vulnerable from our amulet. 2 points into Hued Flesh, 1 point in Corpse Explosion up to Blighted Corpse Explosion because the puddles is just free damage on the ground anytime someone walks into it. 3 points in Skeletal Warrior Mastery because we got minions. 3 points in Grim Harvest, 3 in Fueled by Death so we get the 9% multiplicative increased damage. 3 in Death's Reach since we're trying to stay back at range. 3 in Skeletal Mage Mastery. 3 in Serration, Compound Fracture, and Avulsion. 3 points again into Golem Mastery because it's that 75% increased damage and life. So he's extremely tanky and does some pretty chunky damage. Gonna grab all of Army of the Dead. If you actually lose your minions because something's like crazy happens that just one-shots your minions, which hasn't really happened unless the Hand of Malthus, I think that's his name, spawns. He's basically like the butcher of the vaults. He can take out your minions extremely quickly. You can pop Army of the Dead and get all of your minions back. Army of the Dead does insane damage, and especially if you can get the aspect that makes it so your minions take 90% less damage, they're going to be doing even more damage and taking 0 damage basically. Army of the Dead is really good, especially in the vault. Remember, this whole build is specifically for the vault. 3 points in Inspiring Leader so that you and your minions get more attack speed as long as you stay healthy, which again, we're staying back out of the fight, so you're going to stay healthy. 2 and 2 Death's Defense just to make them a little bit tankier, and 1 in Bonded in Essence, which realistically you could, if you wanted to, put this into Death's Defense. But I feel like just that one little bit of 20% extra heal just feels really nice. And then finally, we're going to go Ossified Essence. Kalen's Edict is still bad. I mean, they did a lot of reworks for all these classes, but they didn't touch Kalen's Edict, even though nobody takes it because, yeah, you're staying healthy, but you're not going to take 0 damage. So if you take damage, you just lose the 30% damage buff. Kind of feels bad. So it's better to just have Ossified Essence just to increase your Bone Spear damage a little bit, because your Bone Spear still does a lot of damage. On the Paragon board, so I don't have all my glyphs yet, as you can see. I do have Amplify in here just so it can beef up the blue nodes a little bit. However, I'm not using curses. Realistically, I would use Corporeal. Corporeal is going to boost your and your minions damage as well as boost the blue nodes. That's what I would put in here, but I haven't gotten it to drop yet. As soon as it drops, it's going in here. And then I am working on the Cult Leader board. I just came down to get my minions a little bit of extra life and armor. I'm going to go up diagonally through here, grab the minion damage here, and once I make it up to here, we're putting in Dead Razor, and Dead Razor is going to increase Paragon nodes over here. That's going to affect your minions damage taken, or I guess damage output and damage reduction. So Dead Razor is an extremely good glyph specifically for this board. And then after this board, I will be venturing into Bone Graft and seeing where I go from there afterwards. But that is the build so far. I hope you guys enjoy. This is extremely fun. I have gameplay footage, obviously, as you've been seeing in the background, of me running this, and I completed it with 14 stacks of Zoltan's Warding just to see if there was a third chest that would spawn by having 10. However, there was not. So whenever you hit World Tier 3 and you are farming these with the keys, make sure you have at least 5 stacks when you get to the end, and you will be able to open 2 additional chests, and that is how you're going to be able to farm up all of the stones to level up your construct extremely quickly. So once I get to the shrine, I buy 3 Zoltan's Blessing, so it equates to 9. So I spend 3 Pearls of Warding, gets you 9 buffs. So it has 4 traps you could effectively hit on accident, if you will, it leaving you still having 5 whenever you get to the end. If you only buy 2 and you have 6, you have to be extremely careful. So it's up to you, however comfortable you feel. But ultimately, the minions are going to do the vast majority of the work. You can sit back, relax, and let it all happen while avoiding those traps and getting all the rewards. So I hope you guys have a blast in Season 3, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a nice day.